Welcome everyone to the Pantheon. I'm your host, Ray.
And I'm Abby.
And today we're looking at What If. This is an anthology series that we're going to be reviewing once a month. Today we're looking at episode 2, and it's fitting because it is Black History Month. And the show is called What If T'Challa Became Star-Lord. What If is an anthology of series. It's bookended by The Watcher. Who's voiced by Jeffrey Wright. And the premise is, if we're looking at the MCU, all three phases. So we're picking a scene, or a segment, a time in some part within the three phases of the MCU. In this case, we're looking at Guardians of the Galaxy. And with the whole premise of this is we're looking at one event. If something was different about the event, what would be the outcome? How does one event change an outcome, and the outcome could be an infinite amount of possibilities. In this case, Yondu comes to Earth to retrieve Peter Quill for his father, Ego, the planet. What if in this case was, instead of Yondu picking up Quill, what if he gave it to his subordinates? Meaning, if he let Kraglin and Taserface do the work for him while he just sat on his ship. And of course, these guys are like bumbling fools. They pick the wrong person, and they go to the wrong location on the planet Earth. And I guess it's because of the shielding of the Wakandan mineral. They really can't see too well what's inside this invisible city, and they pick up Prince T'Challa in the gardens of Wakanda, outside the secret barrier. So that's where it changes. So Prince T'Challa is now a Ravager.
Yep.
And then we're seeing how that spreads out into this one. This has a lot of surprises, I'll say. This has a lot of space exploration. So we're getting Thanos, we're getting Nebula, we're getting Djimon Hounsou, right? I believe his name is Corrigan. I believe his name is Corrigan. He was one of if you're looking at the history of him, he was one of the guards of the Kree Empire. And if you look at Captain Marvel, he's now, a soldier protecting the orb on the planet Morad. So, there's a lot of this. It stays true to the actual movie. How much of the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, are you familiar with? Do you remember?
First one, pretty much. I've seen it a couple of times.
Okay, so let me ask you this: Morag it's like kind of like Neptune, or what planet it is. It's mostly water.
Okay.
Every 500 years, the tide in this area of this underground civilization recedes. Because if not, I think it's buried under like a million fathoms of water.
Okay.
And this is the only time in 500 years can you actually walk into the place and find this orb. Only now at this particular moment in time does Thanos go down and get it. Because if not, you can't bring an army into the deep of the middle of the ocean. They'll kill your army.
Right. Yeah.
And the pressure of like a million fathoms. Because assuming that Morag is like maybe 5,000 times bigger than Earth, that sea must be like well beneath deep into the ground. So that was the reason for that.
Cool.
And then from that point on, because apparently my understanding is that once you get that particular stone, the stones somehow communicate to each other, so you can actually locate the other stones in some way.
Oh wow, cool.
So that was my understanding. I could be wrong, but yeah. So that was the first stone, and the orb, and what's in the orb is one of the stones.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
nice.
So that's how that goes. Corrigan, like the Djimon Hounsou's character, it's essential to have his voice because he's a vital character in this particular episode. Because he's the one who meets Star-Lord. And he's like, who? Star-Lord. And then he meets. It's actually Star-Lord, T'Challa. So, how'd you like that? How'd you like the reveal? How his reaction is to T'Challa's version of Star-Lord?
That was good, actually. Very good. Well done. Which people would you want to be on What If? Would there be anybody who you would like to think?
For this particular episode?
Yeah, for a new episode. Yeah.
Not really. There's not much. Okay. The MCU is a very specifically niched world. How do you feel about the animation? Like, It's like there's rotoscope, which was I don't know if you know the movie Scanner Darkly with Keanu Reeves, where
Yeah,
it's just
no.
like where it's like as the actual actor is performing it, but they've distorted the image so it looks like a cartoon, but then it's actually
Yeah,
them
yeah,
in
yeah.
frame. This is not that technology, but the
Right.
uncanny valley of this animation is sort of eerie at times.
Hmm.
How is it important to have it being so closely resemble the actual actors, like to the point where it's almost like it's just a shading off, like a smoothness of the facial features, but
Okay.
it's these actors, like these
Hmm.
people.
Okay. Oh yeah, I get it. I get it. Some things shouldn't be done. And
No, no, no. I know.
yeah,
I'm not
and
saying that. I mean,
no,
I'm just saying like, how
no,
do
I
you
know.
like? But how do you? But do you think it's better to have a closely resembled, or this? Not necessarily doesn't matter, but like, do you like the style of this particular drawing of how they're doing it? Because it's not the
Okay.
traditional, like, it's not an anime. It's not still frame. It's not hand drawn. It's a completely different type of like anime texture. But
Yeah.
how do you like? What is your feeling towards this one?
I don't mind it.
Mhm.
Uh, for me, a cartoon is a cartoon. Well, no, it's different, which is fine. I have no problem with that.
Okay. I liked it. I felt it was a step closer to the realism of it, even though it's an animation.
Right.
And sometimes I forget that it is an animation because I was so caught up in the actual episode
Right.
that
Okay.
so it helps me made it feel more believable, feel for the characters in this show. You know,
Okay.
when you watched an episode, are you looking at the names of who's in it?
Not especially. No,
No.
I don't.
Okay, because I know specifically for What If, because these big names pop up like Kurt Russell, or like Jimon
Hmm.
Hansu, or James Josh Brolin. So
Hmm.
does the names, like the fact that you see these names, it doesn't like surprise you in any way or shock you, or
Sometimes, not all the time, to be honest.
Mhm.
On second thought, yeah.
Oh, now in this case,
Okay.
because I see the names, like for me, I just saw the names of all these big actors. It's not often that you see all these big star names popping up on the screen. So to see them, you're like, oh, I wonder if they're doing the voices for this person, or not. I mean, there's a character like Karina, who is the collector's like a female servant.
Mm-hmm.
It's the actual actress, Ophelia Lovibond, is the actress for that. She returns for that role, and of course she has a very pivotal part in this episode near the end. But it's nice to see it's the original actress who did that role returning for
Yeah.
that particular. But even though it's only maybe 3 lines,
Mm.
so it's
Yeah.
just sort of a shock that they came back only for 3 lines, but it's a significant role. So I just thought it was just interesting that Disney was able to one afford all these actors, and the fact that these actors are really willing to go back and do it. It says a lot about the atmosphere, and it says a lot about the work ethic of this particular brand. It is like History Month, but like what kind of audience like would like this particular episode?
Maybe somebody who's 10, a couple of the people who've already got somebody who deserve being there because they're the original person,
Mm-hmm.
and just other people who can do a good voice.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. How about you?
Oh,
Or
for the audience, I oh that's the kind of feedback. I thought this is a really good general audience. I just think it's a very positive message. I think the character of T'Challa is so universal, and because of his nobility, how it translates throughout this whole thing, how he's able to change minds and hearts alike. I mean, that's the message he gives, and you know, it's just it's a very positive, uh, and happy, uplifting version. And
okay.
there's a beginning, middle, and end. Not all the episodes will have that, especially the next episode. So this was a complete thought and a really cool playing of the characters. Really, because this is what you call like role playing, like when you have your toys, you play these little characters, the toys you have, and create your own storylines. And this is a deviation of the storyline, so I thought that was really good. So I give it a thumbs up. That's why I give it a 10, because it's creative, it's a positive, it's a full complete story, and I think it's a complete 10. So
Yeah, me too.
so that's it. Well, on that note, everyone here. This is the end of Black History Month. I hope it was rewarding, educational, fulfilling, and we'll be back next week with a brand new show. Take care.